everyone, welcome back. Today I'd like to talk to you guys about some trends that I think we're going to see in UX UI in 2026. So of course, no surprise, starting us off is going to be AI. AI driven and influenced interfaces. So I'm thinking we're going to start seeing a lot more, based on patterns that I've seen, and a lot more of personalization. Bespoke interfaces that are driven by users' behavior, right? The intent of the user that the AI system can anticipate based on patterns of behavior that they see. Maybe components and interfaces can adjust based on, like I said, the workflow and the common interactions, whether the system starts making recommendations, suggestions, kind of anticipating those needs and, next steps to help support the user. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing those. I don't think that is so out there. I think that's something that if people aren't already doing, a lot more people will begin to do. We're also going to see hand gestures, voice activation, right? So a lot more companies could possibly start allowing, instead of just typing in search, you can use your voice to help search. Just more allowance for hands-free control over systems and interfaces. So pretty exciting to see how systems are going to change and evolve over time. So I don't think we're going to stay in the static, one-size-fits-all interface for much longer. I don't think the AI environment allows for that. So very exciting, and it's really cool seeing companies rush and scramble to stay ahead of these trends and all the creative designs that UX professionals are coming up with. So really exciting times to be in tech right now. I think another thing that's really important is the privacy, right? I think you always have a group of people that are super excited for AI and they're just kind of going and just like so future focused. But we also have to understand that this affects everyone in the population, right? And so we do need to respect the privacy, security, accessibility of everyone, so that while we are progressing, we're also not hurting people, because that can happen at the same time, and AI in the wrong hands can be deeply misused. And so we have to be mindful of that. So we have to always make sure that we respect privacy, we put in guardrails to protect and secure. And we also need to make sure that, customers and users of our products know this and feel safe and protected. And so, speaking to your customers, doing user interviews, doing field studies, doing some user testing can really help you figure out how your customer base feels safe and what they would need to see and experience to feel that way. So really encouraging you to do that. I think another thing we're going to also see is the, in addition to having very personalized interfaces, is also the ability to generate potentially these interfaces, right? Like we can generate videos, we can generate pictures, text, like whatever, there's really not much AI can't do. So why not, maybe at some point the user could even help influence the interfaces and the component behavior, look, feel, style of your system, obviously based on, rules and configurations that you put in place. But hey, I don't think that's too far-fetched, maybe a little out there, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think that really would track with the progression of AI as we see it. I am so happy about how important accessibility has become. I think, back in the day when I first started, I've been doing this for 18 years now. So I remember, when I first started learning about accessibility and screen readers and really having to align to these standards, how important it was. And so AI, surprisingly, which I'm really happy about, has made that even more important, right? Especially because, the security protection laws that are being put in place for AI, but also bots are scouring websites. And a lot of those cues that they look for are actually the same standards that we use to make sites accessible. So it really goes hand in hand. And so you're seeing a lot more sites are coming up to accessibility standards because of the influence of AI and the need to rank higher, the need to not get pinged or dinged because they don't meet accessibility standards. And so I'm really excited that this is something that is being taken very seriously, and yeah, AI is just helping that cause. So yay for more accessibility and meeting those WCAG or ADA compliance standards, however you refer to it. Ensuring that your interfaces, whether it's a website or an application, is not just responsive, but it also adapts to the device that your viewer is using. So ensuring that you consider the best accessibility, the best user experience, thumb zones, orientation, brightness adjustments. Again, in accessibility, we can break it down to readability, contrast, ensuring that the controls are visible for anything that is an autoplay or scrolling. So just not just making it one size fits all and just saying, hey, if it stacks and it fits, that's perfect. Put a little more effort into your mobile experience. I would even say treat it as a whole separate experience, because it really is, right? Like you're taking this giant screen and bringing it down to something that's a fraction of its former size. So really think about that experience, really spend time with it. And yeah, I just wanted to bring that up again because I know a lot of people already consider it, but it's not something I ever want to leave out because it's so important and something that, can be disregarded, especially if your company does not have an actual mobile application, right? Especially if you're more of desktop for your SaaS application, or if you're a marketing website, sometimes the mobile experience can be neglected or just, kind of whatever. We're going to start to see like a lot more integration between the design and the development to help make that transition very seamless. I know some people are probably watching this like, we already do that, I understand, but I would say that, probably most people, there is still a clear separation between that handoff, and there is some manual work that is done there. But, especially if you use Figma, like it really is set up to integrate with a lot of development platforms, even the way Figma, organizes its interface. And so really utilize that, really create that seamless bond and connection between the design and the development so that handoff is seamless. Those tokens are the same in the design and development. Of course, have some type of guardrails, some type of governance process so things don't get broken in a local environment or worse in production. But have some type of sandbox where these updates are constantly coming in from design are also visible and clearly labeled in a way that developers can also understand. And again, the naming of those various tokens, variables, CSS names, whatever you however you guys describe it, just make sure that there is that common language between design and development, because that's where the magic happens, right? And then one last thing before we head off is the modularity. I think we're going to see a lot more modularity when it comes to components, and something that I've talked about in previous videos, but just allowing components to be interchangeable, right? Like, yes, especially if you work in marketing, you want things to be exciting, you want things to be fun, but we also want to ensure that there's a common design language, even if someone can't tell if they have an untrained eye. When enough things come together that follow a similar language, there's a cohesion that is formed that really makes something comfortable and enjoyable to look at and interact with. So pay attention to those small details, right? Like whether it's a line, whether it's a font size, color, spacing, like those things really, really matter. And as small as they are, they build up to create a very balanced interface. So, I think it's really important if you're a product designer to definitely take a step, at least once in your career into marketing as a UX UI designer. Try it out, because I've always had roles where I was either just product or product and marketing. And I really think that helped, because it allowed me to ensure that my designs weren't just utilitarian, they were also beautiful. And that is something that we should be careful of. I think especially as we utilize AI a lot more, whether you're using Figma Make, whether you're generating a lot of interfaces, you know, something that you can fall into, especially if there are certain principles that the system is aligning to, and certain standards that it aligns to. Don't forget that the benefit of being human is that we're creative as well, right? And so we can invent, reinvent things. And so being able to bring that beauty, that human factor into your designs, whether it's a marketing page or it's a product interface, you know, humans are the ones who are reading and using your products. So don't forget to bring that element of beauty and bring in that nice aesthetically pleasing interface as well, because would you rather spend hours in something that looks very sterile, or would you rather spend hours in something that felt like art, you know? So do what you can in a tasteful way that doesn't distract or detract from the actual task at hand, or cause friction to your user experience and flow. But, you know, find a way to bring some enjoyment into your designs. I think you as the designer will have a much more fulfilling career, and your end user will appreciate it. I'm sure you can check on Reddit to see their reviews. So anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is, again, some of the trends that I kind of have been noticing and what I think will have more emphasis on in this year. And, you know, maybe some ideas that I kind of thought of sitting by myself at my desk. I'm like, oh, you know, what if, you know, maybe I watch too much sci-fi. I don't know. My husband's a big gamer, so, you know, I'm always seeing cool stuff that they do in the video games, and I'm like, oh my God, what if, you know, that would be so cool. So anyway, I'm rambling, but hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know if you guys have any questions, comments, any topics you want me to talk about. I'm happy to do that. I see we have some new subscribers, so welcome. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you get some value out of this video, and I'll see you next time. Can't tell you when. Life has been busy in a good way, but yeah, I'll see you when I see you. Bye.